Good day, everybody. I would say good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's nice to be the host of the Ghanaian edition of the Consumer Post webinar. And this is a series that kicked off from Lagos yesterday, where we spoke about Nigeria CPS, Nigeria macro and micro indicators. And this journey has come to Accra in Ghana and is going to move to Nairobi in Kenya tomorrow. So it's a whole series trying to understand the African markets in totality. And the beautiful thing about it this morning is that we have two experienced key speakers that will be taking us through exciting insights. And first thing I've done today is just clear up my notebook, a full page for this, and my pen is ready to actually take notes. And I know I'm disappointed just having seen the speaker. And the flow that we're going to be having today, which we've already started, would be the introduction and overview of the session. We have key insight from the consumer post study, which Ibukumbadejo would undo. Myra will come in and talk about the overview of economic trends and implication in Ghana. Now we'll now leave the floor to our wonderful audience to ask questions, to give feedback, to contribute to the discussion. Then we have the summary and final remarks. Now to the audience, you don't need to wait till this time before you start dropping your questions or your feedback or your observation or what you need more elaboration on. By the time Ebukwe is speaking and you think, oh, I think I have to ask this madam this question, or this madam needs to clarify this stuff, then just drop your question immediately. I will take note of those questions and I will ask Ebukwe when we have the Q&A session, and same thing with Myra. So we don't need to wait till the Q&A session to drop our question. Now, these are the people, these are the main character. That's my humble self as the host. We have Ibukumbadejo, I have Myra Caesar. Now, I'll quickly go to the people speaking today. And on the screen, that's Myra. That will be our second speaker anyway. But that's Myra. Myra Caesar is from Ghana. Myra is a strategic brand and communication leader with over 20 years of experience shaping marketing communications, brand reputation, and growth strategy across multiple industries. You can see why I'm actually excited sitting in here today to pick this knowledge. As strategic director at Ogilvy Ghana, she leads multi-market campaigns for global brands, including the Coca-Cola Company, Telisec, which is formerly Vodafone, Diageo, Unilever, Standard Chartered Bank, UNICEF, the MasterCard Foundations, delivering integrated campaigns that build brand equity and drive measurable growth for global brands. I mean, if it was a live performance, we have just been doing the applause, but it's nice, it's nice to have Mara with all this experience and expertise. Also, she's a founder of Propel International and Scholarship Foundation, which has awarded scholarships and connected 100,000 plus students and professionals across Africa to skills, mentorship, and career opportunities. Having lived and worked in Ghana, the USA, and the UK, Myra brings a global cross-cultural perspective to strategic communication. She's a mentor, she's a speaker, she's passionate about empowering Africans' next generation of leaders to thrive in a fast-changing world. Let's give it up to Myra with all this qualification and all this nice thing. All right. Now the next speaker, she's not strange to me. I can actually read this bio closing my eyes. So I've known the book for quite a while, and it's nice adding art to this platform. So it gives me great pleasure to read about a book about the job. Now the body job stuff is a mouthful. I call it a book. So we'll just stick with a book today. A book is a strategic insight leader with over a decade experience helping organizations navigate complex African markets. She's a director in Pairing Consulting. She brings a unique combination of analytical rigor and commercial acumen, holding an MA in Demography and Population Study and an MBA from University of Canada West. She leveraged this dual expertise to combine qualitative and quantitative approaches, triangulating multiple data sources to deliver holistic, actionable insight that solve client challenges and guide high-impact decision. Madam, you can see my pen, ready to write everything I learned today. But it's nice, it's nice having you anyway. She has partnered with a wide range of clients across financial services, beauty, food, beverages, and social impacts, translating consumer behaviors, preferences, and market trends into strategic opportunities for digital wealth growth, innovation, and market leadership across Africa. You can see I always chose my friend well. I chose her well. This client that she has worked with and given actionable insight over the last decade include FCMB, both in Nigeria and in the UK, Wema Bank, Lotus Bank, Power Pensions, Nigerian Breweries, which is Heineken for people outside the Nigeria sphere. It's Diageo, British Council, Ala, Jotna, Lacasera, Laurier, GB Foods, both in Nigeria and in Ghana. Laurier, both in Nigeria, Ghana, and Kenya. That should I know quite a bit. Multi-choice sound cities, among others. Our work spans consumer insight, market sizing, opportunity analysis, and go-to-market strategy, ensuring research not only inform but drive transformative business strategies. Let's give it all for Ebukun as well. Nice to have you
Thank you.
here. Nice to have you here, madam.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
All right, and this 2026 Consumer Pulse webinar is powered by Katina Advisory, a financial management consulting firm, Ogilvy Africa, both in Ghana and in Kenya, as well as pairing a decade in the African space. Ibukun, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to give you the floor to blow us away.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Paul. I'm going to start sharing my screen now. Let me know immediately you can see it.
Yeah, I can see your screen, Ibukun.
Okay, fantastic. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here. And finally, the train is in Ghana. So today I'm just going to be talking about consumer sentiment and providing a 2026 outlook for the Ghana market. Now, we've been tracking consumer pulse survey. So it's really going to be about I'll talk about tracking the consumer pulse survey, what we found out over time. I would also talk about the 2026 consumer trends that we've identified, and of course, land us with a closing thought that would help businesses to play in this season. So we've actually been tracking consumer sentiment since October 2023, quarter three, 2023. And key metrics that we track is the happiness index, checking how happy Ghanaians are, financial index, looking at their financial outlook, what do they think, their financial outlook will be in the next 12 months. Optimism index, which is really checking how optimistic they are, and category consumption pattern. What are the categories they consume? What is the pattern in this category so far? And of course, we speak with male and female, age 18 to 36 years. And in Ghana, the main location we run the study is Accra. Moving on, so far, across the three markets we've been running this consumer pulse survey, we have our learnings. And the first one is that we've seen critically there's a strong correlation with happiness index and economic headwinds. No, so how the economy is would influence how happy our consumers are. We've also seen that it also is correlated with the government and economic policies. So whatever monetary policies, whatever economic policies, whatever government policies are actually in place at a particular time has direct impact on their daily realities, and that influences happiness index. And the third one is post-COVID People just appreciate good health, like have been able to pass through COVID. COVID was like a test of fire. So if you pass through COVID alive, people just appreciate good health. And of course, the support system. So support system here would mean a family and friends. And these are the major recalibrators for consumers when it has to do with happiness index. Now, the question is there a link between happiness index ratings, PMI, and consumers' realities? And of course, for consumers' realities, we're going to be using inflation rate to measure this. Because remember, I talked about the fact that the economic realities actually influences happiness index. So let's go through it. In October 2023, we can see the happiness index at this point was 57%. And at this level, pretty similar to PMI, which kind of just tells us how uh, the economy is. Now, let's look at what the inflation rate is. The inflation rate was the highest at this time. Looking at when we started tracking happiness index, it was 35%. Now it dropped. Now, what happened? And the next slide, we actually explain what is influencing this. There are a number of economic headwinds, people's realities that influence this. It dropped in August 2024, and we can see that it was a very sharp drop. Now, what was happening? In October 2023, we're in a different era of government, and in August 2024, we're planning for election. Election was going to happen in December. Ghanaians were tired. Ghanaians were just looking out for change. They just wanted something different. And at that point, the inflation rate has started dropping because the initial government that was in place was trying to resolve issues. But of course, Ghanaians were not patient enough. They were done. They were done. Moving on to October 2025, happiness index increased. What caused that? Why was there a sharp increase from 32% to 73%? Things became better. Kenyans were happier. The governments were doing what they wanted. Our currency improved and what have you. And then in January 2026, we saw a slight drop. And my next slide will explain further what exactly happened. Now, talking about the macro indicators and external factors that influence happiness index, as I mentioned earlier on, when it was 57%, we had massive debt. Our currency was depreciating. There was high cost of living. Everyone was complaining. The presidency wasn't doing well, and it was like things were really bad. And of course, that affected happiness index. Most of the time, in other countries where we had measured happiness index before COVID, we saw that the lowest happiness index was actually just after COVID because people were just sad. People weren't happy. Now let's move to when it was 32%. Now it was really high inflation rate, high transport rate. So the daily realities of consumers were not positive. So of course, what will make you happy when everything around you was negative? We saw the Ghana cities weakened, and at this point, people were just tired. As I mentioned, they were just waiting. Is there going to be a new government? We need a change. Is this going to be a beacon of hope? What exactly is going to happen? And then by the time the new government came in December 2024, it's like they just moved and they started working immediately. We started seeing changes. There was high optimism because there were policies in place and we started seeing the effect almost immediately. Food inflation dropped. Ghana city strengthened. There was a high IMF program, there was higher foreign reserve, forex reserve, and then things were just looking better. And of course, it meant that the happiness index and the way consumers saw it was higher. Now, looking into January 26, we saw that there was a slight drop. And what is causing this drop, even though there's a new government, it's still the same government. That hasn't changed much. And even at this point, we had the highest inflation, the lowest inflation rate in 30 years. Right now, the inflation rate is about 3.8% compared to 32% that we had in October 2023. So the inflation rate is good, really good, single digit and really low. However, our daily realities as consumers is we eat. we're traveling, we're moving around. All of that, we are not seeing the effect. Even though inflation rate dropped, we're yet to really feel it. Particularly in Accra, high cost of transportation is what we are facing right now, and we have food prices. Tomato is usually being imported. Some of the tomato that is consumed in Ghana is being imported from Burkina Faso, and all of a sudden the government said no more importation. So it means that there is high prices of tomato, which is a staple in our meals. So prices of food stuff had increased. Oil that we use to cook, the price also has increased. So a number of food stuff has increased, and this is our daily reality. These are the things we have to eat every day. We have to move every day. So all of this had reduced the happiness index a little bit, just by 4%. What is it going to be in 2027? We'll be here to tell you. So moving on, remember I talked about the fact that happiness index is impacted or influenced by health, good health, and we can see it as one of the top score, like the first driver of happiness, 37%. Good health. Am I healthy? I'm alive. Okay, that's enough. Let's start with being healthy, because when there is life, as Africans, we believe when there is life, there is hope. So good health is number one, followed by good life. Okay, so I'm alive, right? Am I alive and I'm enjoying life? So I want to be alive and still enjoy life. So you see good life as second influencer of happiness index. And the third one would be good living condition. Can I eat well? Where am I living? The house, my home, and all of that. Good living condition. And if you notice, all of this is just it has to do with the person. Like it's just about living well. Good health, good life, good living condition. It's all about overall the health of the consumer. Now we see close to that is good leadership, which is something we're currently enjoying in Ghana. The new government is doing, they're trying, there are policies in place, there are a lot of good things happening, and Ghanaians are happy. We are happy. And then, of course, I've talked about the low inflation rate, which we can overemphasize. 3.8%, the best in 30 years. Now, at the other side of it, we still have some consumers that will say, you know what, I'm not entirely happy. I'm not where I used to be. And what are the drivers of this? Unemployment. So we still have 41% that are complaining of unemployment. We have illegal mining. We have increase in house rent. One of the things that the government did recently was to say that to put a policy in place that landlords are not meant to collect more than 6 months. However, are they listening? Landlords are saying no. They're still collecting the 2 years advance for every rent. And so there's increase in house rent. So people are still complaining about that. And of course, it's making them unhappy. And moving on, we know that, as I said earlier on, the increase in food prices, tomatoes and other staples that we use in cooking. Right. There is a positive outlook on personal and business levels among Ghanaians, looking at December to January this year, right? When we did the study. So 78%, an increase from 76 to 78%. 70% of the consumers are just really positive about the financial situation in the next 12 months. 93% are confident in the business condition in Ghana in the next 12 months. And we can see here that 90% are optimistic about the family financial future. So personal finances and family finances, people are just really optimistic. And we can see the 93%, 9 in 10 are saying that, you know what, I'm positive that there's going to be continuous good time in Ghana's future. Why? We have good governance. Right from the last slide, you can see that 78% actually believe they are very positive about the financial situation in the next 12 months. And what is driving that? Good health. When I'm alive, it means that I can make money. It's only if I'm alive that I can walk and make money. Good relations, they have people around them that they believe that with these people around them, it's just helps them to keep making money, to have good or better positive financial situations, and then better life conditions. All of this, when there is life, there is hope. When there's life, I can walk. When there's life, I can make money. And then setting my plan on motion. So they have plans in motion. They have plans, and because of their daily realities, they're able to set their plans in motion. And it's affecting the way they think about how their financial situation would be in the next 12 months. And the last but not the least, which is because we picked up the top five drivers, is that Kenyans are not just sticking to one source of income. So I have my first source of income. I'm having a second. I'm having a third. So there are new side also. So with this, I'm assured that even if the first one is not delivering as it should, my second source of income will deliver, or my third source of income will deliver. So there is a rise in and because of that side also, they have this the positive outlook that their financial situation is going to be better in the next 12 months. Now we've talked about the result from the consumer pulse survey. Now, what are the trends that we are seeing? Optimistic. That is the general sentiment of consumers. Consumers are optimistic. They're expecting economic stability. It has started well with the new government, and it's still like that. Inflation rate keep dropping. We have better economic situation. So consumers are expecting that economy would still stabilize. However, remember that that is like the big picture. What is their daily realities? The daily realities is, you know what, things are still expensive. Rent is still expensive. Transport is still expensive. So I'm going to be pragmatic. I'm going to spend with my head on my shoulders. I'm not just going to spend lavishly. So so pragmatic spending continues, and for them, they're looking out for product, or they're picking up product that's offering value, added value, and acceptable price range. I'll explain more in the next slide. And of course, having one stream of income is not working anymore. So side hustle is their new normal. People are exploring content creation, having digital and all of that, but just have another source of income. Don't stick to just to your 9 to 5. Right. One thing we need to know is that consumer preferences have changed, and it is still changing. Don't think that the consumer of 2023 is the same consumer of 2026. They've changed. Their realities have changed. And so downtrading and focusing on the essentials is what we've seen and we've observed. And that is what would continue. And what that means is it's not like they won't splurge. They will, but it's going to be planned splurging. And I'm not going to be out I'm not going to I'll plan for my debt to December. I'll start planning for my debt to December from January. I'm going to plan towards it. I'm going to plan towards all what I'm going to do in December from January. I'm going to plan about that outing I'm going to have with my girls. It's just going to be once a month. It's not going to be every weekend. I'm not going to be eating the club every weekend. No, there will be splurge moments, but it will be planned. Oh, I want to buy that makeup product, but I'm going to plan towards it, right? Or it is only when I'll use my special premium makeup product at the point whereby I'm going to a very special event, right? And what are the implications for us as brands? Price increase is not the silver bullet. It's not now we start thinking of increasing the price. No, consumers are being very price conscious, and they're looking at products that are very pricey. And another thing we need to know is that physical availability is key. You need to focus on depth and not the breadth. Are you available when consumers have that spending moment, when they have the opportunity to pick up your product or your category? Are you physically available? And then the brand is still important. They look at the brand, they look at the name. And so it means that you need to invest in saliency. Are you mentally available? When consumers think about your category, is it your brand name that comes to mind first? And then we cannot afford one of the things that we've learned over time, and Baron Shak has overemphasized it, is the fact that one of the ways you can grow is through occasions. How do you want to grow through occasions? It means that for different occasions, for different consumer occasions, be there. When I want to splurge, be there. When I just want to be normal, I'm not splurging, I'm not signaling, be there. When I'm at home, nobody is looking at me. I just want to relax. and be pampered by myself, be there. So at different occasions, you have to, as a brand, you have to be there. Now, quality is key as consumers now expect brands to deliver on category baseline attribute. What are the category baseline attribute? This is like the job to be done for every product. Let me use a diaper as an example. I'm a mom and I have a baby, and there are different diapers in the market. Am I going to use the diaper that is very expensive at home? No. Why? What's the function of the diaper? To ensure that my baby is not wet and is very comfortable. So any diaper brand that delivers on that baseline attribute provides quality, right? And that is what is most important. Quality is key. Are you delivering on that part time? That is something we need to think about. So regardless of the format, regardless of the SKU, I just want to ensure that anytime I pick you as a brand, you're delivering on those key baseline attributes like consumers have defined as the job to be done for your category. Now, it's okay to justify the superior proposition, like, oh, we have this extra, we're adding, this is the value add, this is what is differentiating us. It's okay. However, every single time you have to deliver amazing experiences. Every time I pick up your product, every time I pick up the brand, your promise is there that every single time I'm delivering on the experiences every time. Now, of course, when you combine quality, price, and format, quality is something that will still single consumers out. Like, I am looking out for the quality of your product. It is all about the product. Is the product delivering? Out of all the marketing piece, the most important marketing P that you need to first focus on is your product. Yes, pricing is important, the format is the packaging is important, but the product, is it delivering? Is it delivering on the functional attribute, on the baseline attribute? We've seen over time, and is one of the trends we're seeing right now, the purchases are more increasingly driven by value perception. And what is value perception to the consumer? It is that I can see the clear benefit, the product, and then it's at the right price. It is at the right price point. Is the product delivering on the job to be done? Yes, that's the first thing. And then is it placed at the right price? Yes. So I'll give you the example of a detergent. So what is detergent used for? It's a form of soap and it's used to wash clothing and it's meant to help my clothes to be clean, but it is meant to help it to be clean, not to make sure that my black clothes turns to white. It has to maintain the color, maintain the quality, right? So even though there might be cheaper products, right? But if it is not delivering on the clear benefits that is expected for detergent, people will still not buy you even if you're cheap. So it's not about going for the cheapest price. No, it's about first deliver value. And what is value? You're delivering on the job to be done, which is the clear benefit they can see, and then it's at the right pricing. So consumers really don't have time to go back to the market. Remember that they're very cost they're looking at their spending. They're not splurging as they used to. So there's reduced shopping trips. And this means that the little time I want to go to the market, I'm picking up what is important. And you have to deliver on quality, not just the quantity. It's plenty. Oh, it's cheap. No, that's not the point. The point is, are you giving value? And value is you're delivering on the product at the right pricing. Now, over time, we've seen that social media has become the third space. People are at work, at home, and then down on social media. People wake up in the morning and the first thing they're picking is their phone. What is happening online? WhatsApp, Instagram, TikTok, X. What is that trending topic? What's happening with the war in Iran? What is happening in Ghana? How is it affecting us? People are checking what are brands doing, right? So if consumers live on their mobile, if they're on their phone, it means that we also have it has become a critical touch point for us as a brand. Right. It has to be that we have to be at the center of consumers' conversation. Are we there when they're talking as a brand? Are you there? Engaging with them, talking, ensuring that our brand is there and present, right? So people are spending more time online, and then we need to be able to capture their attention. We know that social media is not capturing their attention more because they're more online, not as much as they used to be on TV. They're more on their phones. People will switch on the TV and they're still on their phone, doing two things at the same time. And what is really engaging them is on their phone, right? And we know it's even cheaper. It's not as expensive. You don't have to buy time, or as you will have had to buy slots on TV and all of that. No, it's cheaper to execute. And it has actually become where a lot of dragging happens. So it's almost like the law court for consumers. A brand is not performing where I put it to social media. I call them out, and my fellow friends and family and even people I don't know help me in dragging the brand. So it's now the law court. So we need to be there. Humor remains big, and it's a good way to cut across clutter, right? So life is already hard. Now, whenever you're doing ads or communication, it has to be funny. But it's not just about being funny because not all humor is equal. It has to be funny, and you have to execute it in a very creative way that is super relatable, and it is tied to the messaging of your product. Like it's tied to the product itself. So it means that even when I remember and I laugh at the hard, I still remember your product. It is still memorable, it is still reminding me of your product, mental availability, right? Right? And so it's very important that it is well executed, right? And when it's well executed, it means that people will watch it over and over again because it's funny and they like it. Now, consumers are not loyal. We've known that before, but what we've seen is that they've now expanded their repertoire. They're choosing different brands at different occasions. So, what are you going to do? Be mindful of the humans of your category. Understand how the humans of your categories are thinking and at their different consumption occasions. So, what are they thinking when they're going out? How are they thinking when they're at home? How are they think? And that's why it's important. You cannot afford to stop talking to the consumers, right? How are they thinking when they're with their peers? How are they thinking when they're with their family? So it's super important that different occasions our brand is there, right? So it means that we need to optimize our portfolio. We can't afford to just be a brand that is playing at one in one occasion. We have to play across different occasion, and this could be different pricing tiers just to capture the value that we need. Now, what am I closing to it? One, consumers will keep spending because we have to eat. Consumers will keep spending because they have to go out. Consumers will keep spending because they have to wear clothes. Consumers will keep spending because they have to drink, right? So all our products, they'll have to use financial services. So they'll keep spending. So the issue is not that they won't spend, they will spend. It's just that it is now driven by value and their value perception. And it means they're also being very pragmatic. So what do we need to do? Future-proof your portfolio, be there. Innovate along different occasions, be there. Grow our occasions, invest in mental availability. When I think about your category, am I thinking about your brand? Are you top of mind? So you have to build saliency, So our marketing strategy has to, and our touch point optimization has to ensure that it's actually building saliency for us. We also have to invest in distribution excellence, be available in the right format with the right price tag, across the critical outlets that is important for your category because every category is different. And then quality, you cannot miss it on quality. It's baseline. You have to get the job done. Is a product delivering? Yes, it has to deliver. And that's where I will end today. Thank you so much. Paul, I hope I did not overshoot my
So that
time.
that was no, that was no problem about shooting your time, Ibukun. Now,
Okay.
first off, thank you so much, Ibukun, for the last
I
minute.
need to add,
Yeah, you can
though,
go on.
Paul, that there's an extended report. If you need that extended report, please just send an email to Ghana office at peeringconsulting.com. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ibukun. All right.